Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So this is one where it's just sort of covering stuff that's happened over the last 7 days, and there really hasn't been that much, but this is what the news is from the last 7 days, basically. So first of all, Avatar The Last Airbender Book 1 Water soundtrack, of course, has been out for a while on streaming and vinyl. The CD got announced a few weeks ago. I covered it, but at the time it seemed like there was only one website that you could order it from, and so if you weren't from America, you had to jump through hoops or it wasn't accessible to you. Now it is more accessible. The CD, as you can see here, is available to buy from Amazon.com. So this opens the door for a lot of people to buy. You might have to pay a little bit more shipping depending on where you're from, but at least it's a kind of easy way to kind of get it if you want it. For people in America, Barnes & Noble do also have the CD available as well, which is nice to see that there are a few more options for this. Personally, if the plan is going forward with like the book 2 release, for it to just have maybe a CD at launch or the CD to come a little bit later, I'm probably going to myself switch to getting the CD. Cool to get the first vinyl, but I think CD is a better physical option for me ultimately, but that's just my thoughts on that. So I know a lot of people were interested in grabbing the CD as like a cheaper physical copy, so you know, Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com. Again, I wish it was more available for you know, for other countries that like maybe the other Amazons kind of offered it directly, but it is what it is with Avatar. Sometimes some of the stuff is very American only, unfortunately. So there's that. Very quickly, an update on Avatar Legends Realms Collide. Unfortunately, it looks like it might not be releasing this year. The reason I say that is just because on Discord, a lot of the messaging has changed from being, we can't give you a release date, but it's this year, to we can't give you a release date, but it's this year or early next year. And I think the fact that they have actually started to add in the or early next year part probably highlights that they're going to be struggling to hit the very, very end of the year. And you know they're probably not going to launch the game in like the last week or two of December. So if it doesn't launch within the next like 4-ish weeks, it's probably delayed into early next year, unfortunately. Not really sure what's happening, why they're doing such a slow rollout, or what the issue is. I think a lot of people are just frustrated at this point with the game. I am too. I don't really understand what they're doing. It feels like they just started hyping it up way too early, and they don't really have anything new to talk about. Because the last really interesting thing is from like 3 or 4 months ago. It's kind of crazy what's going on. So there's that. Otherwise, let's get into an update on the game found. So doing really well on crowdfunding. You can see here 240,000, nearly 2,300 backers. They're just 2 away. 5 days to go on the campaign. And of course, that means it's nearly 500% funded, of course. Since the last update, currently there are no new stretch goals except, I believe, this one, which is just that, hey, if they get 250,000 or 2,400 backers, they're going to extend this offer to get the kind of free dice tray. It's this black one here. So I'm guessing they probably will hit that, so pretty much everyone who is part of this should get the dice tray, but that's just what's still ongoing. I'm guessing they probably will have some sort of a final stretch goal or something like that, even though they have added in a few things which we will talk about. So all of the currently unlocked goals, I think we talked about them up to here. Melon Lord has been added in as the family-friendly boss. This is what was voted in on. So Ozai and Phoenix King Ozai together are the boss of the kind of standard game. Melon Lord is now going to be the kind of the easy mode gameplay thing, which I think makes a ton of sense. I'm guessing the way that this works is that you don't use the comet track and just you get to the final boss regardless, and you see how you do. So there's still a chance you can lose, but I'm guessing the numbers will be such that if you're playing in any way reasonably well, you should be able to defeat Melon Lord. So that'll be an interesting one to see how exactly it goes. They do still have to reveal the ultimate challenge, and I have no clue what character it's going to be. Because Ozai, of course, makes sense to be the kind of most powerful kind of challenge in the game. What's stronger than the Phoenix King Ozai, which is like 13 in every stat? You're probably going to have to do 14 or 15 in every stat. And who makes sense to have that on their card? It realistically probably has to be like an avatar or a spirit character. But like Ko's already covered in the game, so do you just do an alternate version of Ko? Do you do a different character? Are they allowed to do stuff from, like, say, the comics or the novels? Because Father Glowworm would kind of work. General Old Iron would kind of work for this. But do they want to do that? I'm not really sure. Otherwise, like, some crazy amalgamation of, like, all the villains, like, in a kind of montage might be something. But it's a bit of a tough thing to kind of predict exactly what it is up to now. If you opened it up to Korra, then sure, like you could say something like, say, Dark Avatar would be the really obvious option, but I don't think they're allowed to use Korra. So there's that. Otherwise, yeah, we have the alternative companion art. We still only know Zhong, I believe. I don't think they've confirmed other characters for that yet. We've unlocked the other non-bender companions, so Suki and the Cabbage Merchant plus 2 more, which we will vote on. They still need to reveal a lot of the characters and confirm what things are ahead of these votes, but they'll have time after the campaign, I guess, to do all this stuff. Mei and Ty Lee feel like they're probably locked in, assuming they give those characters to us as options, but we'll see how it goes. We also have the box sleeve for the deluxe edition. Most people have backed for the deluxe edition. There's not too many pledges on the normal version, so you now get the box art for the standard version as a sleeve. A lot of people asked for it, so it's a cool bonus option here. And also for the deluxe edition, companion cards are going to have foiling on them as well. So now we have foiling on these as well as the Harmony cards, the square cards. So just be aware of that. Add-ons, lots of new stuff here. So you'll note they've added the travel postcards in as extras. So you get a set of these anyway, but I guess you can order more of them if you want more postcards. So that's that. They have added in a picture of, I guess, what the non-bender expansion actually looks like, which is kind of cool. Teo continues to be part of this, so I'm guessing he is just... I think what's happened is that they have probably in their most recent version of Who's in What, Teo probably has been taken out of the main group of characters, put into this set as a non-bender character, but one who doesn't use the non-bender dice is still probably using air dice as part of the game. And then there'll be more non-bender characters in the extra characters that we unlocked, of course. So yeah, a lot of character stuff. Like I said, they need to clarify a lot of that, but I think it's a little bit clearer what's happening. This is a big one. Card sleeves have been added as an option. I added these onto my pledge and would probably recommend people do the same, unless you can source the sleeves yourself, maybe for cheaper, but especially with the weird card sizes, like how small the challenge cards are, the square cards, and even these ones are kind of weirdly long cards. None of these are standard size card sleeves in terms of like trading cards that most people would have. So this feels like a nice thing to just protect your foil fancy cards that you've just unlocked with all the pledges and stuff like that. So really glad they've added this, much asked for. They've added this premium drawstring bag you can potentially add for 20. You get a bag as part of either pledge, deluxe or not deluxe. I don't think this looks super amazing just based on the colors, and I think the deluxe bag looks a bit better, but I guess it's a slightly bigger bag that probably will hold all the dice a little bit better, whereas the other one I think is more listed as a elemental marker token bag, but I guess you can use them all for the same thing. Feels like a not necessary addition for probably most people, but another option. This is very interesting. Like, I was not expecting, I don't think anyone had called anything like this, but Southern Air Temple Deluxe Dice Tower. So what this is, it's effectively a super fancy kind of, statue like dice tray type thing. This picture probably gets the idea about it across a little bit clearer, because you can see the size comparison to a dice compared to the overall thing. And so yeah, there's enough space here in the courtyard to roll your 6 to 8 dice, and then there is a model of the Southern Air Temple here as well. They of course show it painted here, but it doesn't appear like painting is going to be an option. At least right now, they're maybe saying they could add it in as an option, but my guess is that it probably will cost a lot. Probably is quite a big difference between painting multiple of these versus painting the Appa miniatures. But that's an interesting one here. Again, how many people are going to go in for this? I'm not really sure. I'm not going to get it just because it add a really big item to the order, and I don't want to affect shipping so much that it becomes like a bit of a problem. And while I like the Southern Air Temple, and I do like the concept of it, it feels a little bit too gimmicky for me, but I'm sure some people will really, really like it because it is actually cool when you see the pictures of it. So you can see some of the statistics about it here if you want. And it's made of PVC. So that's where we're at with that. And yeah, so we're getting towards the end of the campaign, of course. I think we're going to hit the 250,000 probably before the deadline on the 10th is up. Maybe we might not do that. It's hard to say. And then will there be a rush in the final days? I think a lot depends on if they do have a really good stretch goal to add in towards the end. That like, here is a really high end or very cool addition to the game to get us to like 275 or maybe 300,000. I hope there's more than what they've kind of put out now, and that with maybe like 3 days to go, they have something else, or they can like at least tell us who all the characters are and stuff like that. Otherwise, you know, they have their updates where they've highlighted a lot of this stuff over the days, as we've unlocked all the stuff. The only, I think one worth kind of getting into a little bit is the Melon Lord, just because they do show some of the sketches for the card, because it has like new art, which I think is very, very fun. I think they chose the perfect character for the boss of the kind of easy version of the game, and I love the kind of symbol, Melon Lord symbol on the back as well. So very fun stuff there. Obviously, I know a lot of people are probably not going to be hugely interested in this. For me, who just likes all Avatar kind of news and following like the merchandise and stuff like this, I'm always interested to see how big an Avatar project does, especially a more niche item kind of like this, where there's not really new content in this. It is just a game, but through crowdfunding, it's always cool to see how it actually does. So my prediction at the start was like somewhere between 300 and 350,000. Are they going to get that? Not sure. But I'm guessing by the end they'll be in or around 300,000. It really depends on how much of a final rush there actually is. Always hard to predict. But that's pretty much all the news. In terms of other news that we're maybe expecting, the newly announced comic, because they've waited a while to announce it and it's actually not too far away, preview pages for Ashes of the Academy probably should be going up in the next couple of weeks, because they always tend to go up with about 4 months to go, or at least they have in recent years. So don't be surprised if just someday we randomly get a bunch of preview pages for that book. It just highlights how delayed some of the other comics have been, that they have had their preview pages for a very long time. But like, this is scheduled for a month after the Mako comic, and you need to do some of that preview stuff for that book, because it's almost a surprise they didn't post anything about it from New York Comic Con. Similarly, maybe the other thing we're perhaps expecting is that Bending Academy #1 book, the chapter book, the kids book. No listing for that has gone up on any other website. The Edelweiss listing has not been updated, but I'm guessing that is something we are probably going to find out more details about in the coming weeks. Especially a cover for that book and more of a proper description, I think could be super interesting, because it is a full-on new piece of content. Like it's a small novel for Avatar, a new one. So that is something exciting whenever we get the further details on it. Otherwise, I'm not sure if there's any obvious place where we would expect to get like bigger information from, like as we come to the end of the year. So it might just be a pretty light end to the year, kind of, unfortunately. So I'll just end by noting that I will be posting, of course, my big 3 end of year videos over the kind of coming weeks into next month, of course. So the way that will work is that what these videos are is, of course, my top 5 story moments from the content that came out this year for Avatar. That will be this month, probably in the next week or two, just because we have all the story content already and we're not waiting for anything really, especially because Realms Collide is basically next year at this point. And the other 2 videos, the year in review for 2024 for Avatar, that will be probably more kind of like mid, getting towards the end of December. And then the final video for the year is going to be the 2025 Avatar preview, which will probably be released like last day of December here, just so it's as up to date as possible. I always enjoy putting out these videos. They do take a long time to make, especially the latter 2 of these 3, but at least I have some bigger videos to work on as we get towards the end of the year, and especially when it doesn't feel like there's a lot of other content happening necessarily, especially like once this campaign comes to an end. What is the next major update? I'm not really sure. But yeah, in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on the CD being available from more places now, how the Journey of Aang crowdfunding campaign is doing, and I suppose your expectations for news for the rest of the year. What do you think? Will anything else happen this year? Who knows? But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.